welcome back to another episode of Uncorked Conversations with your girl SUNNI, where we have real, raw, authentic, transparent conversations over line. I am happy to be here today. I don't know what to expect today, but I'm happy to be here. Yeah. It's something about when you're in the hot seat.
For sure.
When you're in the hot seat, but I feel good about it. Mm-hmm. Starting this journey, this process, the whole intention was always to just highlight like the things that I've been able to overcome, the things that I've been able to get through, and I don't ever want to slight our community from those pieces of the whole story. We laugh, we have fun. You see different people come over here. We talk, we do all the things. We have wine, but the most important thing is using the material that I've been used for, that God has used me for, and still using me for, to give y'all what y'all want
and need.
But no, it's one of my greatest blessings, I would say. And yesterday, because what are my words? Yesterday was a testament to just God's like faithfulness to us, even in the midst of all of what we be doing. Yes, all the things that we be doing. It was just proof that if you go where He tell you to go, when He tell you to go, with the people He tell you to go with, you'll never not be in His presence. So yeah, I'm excited, but today I'm a little nervous.
You always get nervous when I'm a part of the
as much of a social butterfly as I am, y'all, I be really nervous. Like, I don't like to be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. I don't. But I never have met a stranger. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
So I have my friend, my sister. She's actually Uncorked Conversations production manager too. So when y'all be seeing me talking behind the camera, I'm not talking to myself this time. I am usually talking to her or Bobby the cameraman. So she here today, y'all, and I ain't gonna lie, she know a little bit of my business. She actually know a lot of my business, so that's why it's like I never know what is gonna come out of today. But I'm definitely praying that whatever comes out of today, it comes straight from God, that you could feel His presence through me, through Meka, through the conversation, that it inspires somebody, that it lets somebody know, like, you are not by yourself. The things that you've done, the things that you've been through, the things that you've gone through, you're not the first person, okay? At all. Anything that you think you've done, even the worst thing that you know that you've done, you're not the only person that have done them. The things, the darkest rooms or spaces that you go through, you're not the first or the last person to have to go through them. Even through the joyous occasions that still kind of shake us up a bit, you're not the first person, you're not the last person.
Yeah.
So
I know. I'm super excited. Like, I made it on the couch.
She's on the couch.
I made it on the couch.
You know, I've seen a few people in the last couple of days, and they're like, I'm just waiting on my invitation to the couch. I was like, I didn't know so many people wanted to come on the couch.
Made it to the couch. It's like a safe space.
Yes. I was like, okay, bring some wine though. But come sit on the couch. So we're here.
And a wine opener.
That, because y'all, I didn't have one. You know when your life just be on the go, like, that's what the last couple weeks have been, and the next couple weeks will be. So late last, I was like, Meka, this is the checklist. This is what I need. She came with one, so get y'all somebody that come through with the things that you need.
Absolutely.
We are here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, let me just say this. First of all, I know a whole lot more of what she said about the business.
And I want to tell them all that.
I know a whole lot, but no, it's and we talked about this journey for so long. We have been in this space for a long time.
Too long.
And and even been in situations where you've tiptoed a little bit about your life's journey, but haven't really. I don't think people understand the depth of your life's journey.
Yeah.
And so if we expect others to be authentic and sit on the couch and share their journey, be their authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Peel back their layers.
I gotta give up the layers.
You gotta give up the layers. But I know you have been well prepared. For a time such as this, and so I'm just excited to be here, so people can really understand the magnitude of why Uncorked is such an amazing space, a safe space.
Yeah.
And
You're not gonna make me cry today.
No crying.
Because I worked hard on my little makeup this morning.
And then the braids is braided. Like the braids.
I've been trying new things. I feel like with this journey, Uncorked for me is not just a podcast.
Yeah.
It's not just a space where we come and talk. Like how you said, the layers.
Right.
Like with the Uncorked aspect of it, it's like popping the top, like coming from out of hiding, like taking the mask off, allowing myself to embrace who I'm becoming. I was reading Mike Todd's book, Crazy Faith.
Oh my God.
Super dope book. When I tell you,
dope.
So much confirmation over my life has been shared, like in this book, to where it be like, nah, how y'all know my business?
Exactly.
But it's been so on point, so on key, and something he spoke about is as God keep on changing you and taking you different places, making sure that your personality rises to meet your purpose. And we are not meant to be put in a box. We're not. That's why God will send us here, send us there, shake us up, press down, all the things.
Yeah.
Because we try to conform ourselves to one thing, one place of being and all of that. And I knew that with this journey, like, God, if you trust me to do this, if you use me to do this, because he was pushing, I was kicking and screaming for a long time. Yeah. But I understood that, the same way that he's kept me in every other aspect of my life, he was going to continue to keep me, even through this. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to come in the forefront. I didn't want to be like out in the center. I was like in the back. Y'all got it? Y'all got it? Yeah, God sent him to me.
Good support system.
Right. All the way in the back though. I want to love you. I want to nurture you. I want to share all the wisdom that I have. I'm an open book, but from back there, though, and God has been making it so clear to me the last couple of years. Like I said, go in the front. Yeah. I was like, but I don't want to go out there. Like they're gonna see me. And the crazy part is, people had already saw me. They just didn't really get to see me, like she said, in depth. So just allowing myself to be all that I am in this space, not making myself feel obligated to hold on to who I was last year and the year before, but really just being who I am right now, like really being where my feet are. So sometime when we're filming, I'm like, I'm wiggling my toes as a constant reminder to just be like exactly where I'm at, because I am guilty of mentally being in so many other different places to where I can't fully be here right now. But that has been my focus and my intentions with Uncorked is to be right here. Yeah. So I'm right here with you.
You're right here. You're right here. And you're gonna be here for a while. Let's just say
that's what they say. That's what they say.
You're gonna be here for a while. But so let's talk about depth. The depth of who you are, like. Okay. Because I know, like I said, we've been hitting bits and pieces here and there. It's almost like we've been nibbling at the cracker, but the cracker has not been eaten, right? So let's go from, because we got to get to a space of where you are, because there are people that's watching that may have been through some of the things that you've been through in your life journey. And if they get the understanding of who you truly are, and when you speak, how you know what you're speaking about, because you literally walked through the fire to understand, like, how did you do that? So let's go to childhood. Let's talk about some of the things that happened in your childhood, because all of these things have molded you into, you had to get beyond them. And then we're going to even talk about some of the things that you think you may not have really gotten over yet and beyond yet. And how do you know those things? So let's talk about your childhood. Like, what did child life look like for you?
Ooh, she went right into it, slammer. No, childhood for me, I don't think I really realized like how rough my childhood was probably until my 20s.
Wow.
Where I came from Houston.
H-Town.
I'm from the south side of Houston, but where I came from, like, trauma was normal.
Right.
Like, living in, like, the hood, let's just call it what it is, to where you walk outside, there's a dice game going right here. There's a dirty cop, drug deal going on right there. There's a barbershop, 50 dudes, selling drugs, hanging out. Like, that was normal for us. If the SWAT team was on our roof, like, that was normal. If it was a shakedown. If you don't know what a shakedown is, somebody that got busted or something taking place down the street, the law's been called, something violent, you know, or something drug related. Like that was normal. That was my normal childhood. For me, in that same neighborhood, we lived directly across the street from the church. Like I could see inside the church from my bedroom window. Like it was that close. So that's how I always knew, like looking back, like God still had me covered in those times. But for me, childhood, I don't want to say I didn't have a childhood, but sometimes I feel like I didn't. My mom had me when she was 24. So you didn't realize how young 24 is until I got 30. Right. So she wasn't really that old. Right. But she was constantly on the go. Like my mama was still very much in the streets, living her life. Like I knew what an overnight bag was, like really early. So a lot of the times it was my sister and I, like trying to figure it out. She would cook for me, whatever, like look after me. So being so young, being exposed to so much it was the beginning of, I don't know, it felt like a lifetime of different things. But with my mom being gone so much, it gave so much access to us from some of those same guys that would be outside. So I feel like although I was a child, I never got the opportunity, or it was short-lived to be viewed as a little girl.
Child.
You know, I had a light always. Always was a breath of fresh air. Always was SUNNI without even realizing that, you know, I was her. And people saw that and preyed upon it. So for me, that led to experiencing, you know, like sexual assault multiple times. And I tell people a lot of times it's family or people close to you that you usually experience that.
That you call family. You've grown up to realize that this is uncle such and such, and this is auntie, and this is cousin such and such. The people
that, you know, in your mind, you know, or at least you've been told, like, they're to protect you.
Right.
To the point to where you almost don't know that what they're doing is wrong until 15 years later, you're like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
You know, so for me, my childhood, like, I don't know, I used to have this mindset, like, I'm a gangster. Like, I'm a thug. Because I came up in that environment. Like, that's what I knew. That's what I saw. And for the longest, I never knew that life outside of what I knew existed.
Wow.
You know, I did get to travel, like, with my aunt, my uncle and his family and things like that. But then I experienced another situation of sexual assault in that capacity. Wow. So it got to the point where I was like, where am I safe? Where am I safe, and is this normal?
That was my next question to you. Did you ever feel like, because you said it was normal, it was like normalcy, right? So did you create your own safe space? Did you create, or did you, because of it being normal, did you have this space where you felt, because you said mama was on the go, you know, you and sister was pretty much figuring it out. So what was a safe space for you, or what did you consider a safe space?
Y'all know we didn't really start hearing about this safe space stuff until the last barely 4 years, right? Back then, coming from where I came from, I'm talking about if your lights was off, that was normal. Get some candles. If your hot water was off, you knew to boil some water, fill up that tub. All of these things. If you had $20, you knew 10 of it was for gas. You knew 5 of it was because you might need to use the payphone. The other 5, you going to get you a little hungry man meal and you making it happen. I was a survivor before I ever got to experience being a child. So for me, when you asked about a safe space, I remember looking back at pictures of me having like a stuffed animal. Bert and Ernie. I don't know if y'all remember.
Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie. That was my safe haven.
Got it.
And I think because it was just something to hold on to, it gave me a sense of warmth, a sense of comfort. I can look back and I can recall, like, you know, my mom or sister or anybody telling me, like, I would sit in front of the TV with that stuffed animal entertain myself. I was a loner very early on. Still had this light, still very, you know, soft-spoken, like the child everybody wanted to, you know, maybe play with or be around or whatever, but I was a loner. And I think that that's kind of what became my safe space. Excuse me, was just to detach and dissociate from everything, because at those ages, and I'll say probably the first time, maybe, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10, at that age, you don't know to look for a safe space. You think, I'm a child.
Right.
Y'all figure it out.
And then it was normal behavior. You thought it was normal behavior because you didn't know that it was wrong at that time.
And I'll say the reason why I thought it was normal is because it wasn't spoke about. It wasn't spoke about, and then when it was spoke about, or when it did come to light, there was no urgency to protect or to correct. It was more of who's gonna be to blame for. You know, like everybody throwing the blame because nobody wants to be the one associated with, oh, it's my fault. No, it's all y'all fault.
Right. Or what our culture says all the time, what goes on in the house stays in the house.
Oh,
so you pretty much don't want to embarrass the family.
Please deliver my people.
I know it.
And I think later on, that's when I realized, like, oh, my ancestors sent me here, like, to shake up the family. Finding a safe space wasn't a thought for me back then. I knew I had to survive. I knew that. I knew that from the environment that I was in. I knew just from knowing how to go boil a pot of water. Like, I knew that I needed to know how to survive. I knew the things that I would see as a child. I may see somebody, you know, life get taken, or I may see a lifeless body out on the street. I may have a friendship with the crackhead in the neighborhood. That's who washed my car. That's who, you know, walked me home from school.
Take out the trash.
That's who take out the trash. So for me, these people were not a threat to us. You know, that was normal where I came from. So I would say I didn't know to create a safe space. I knew to survive.
And it's so funny that now in today's time, like the same things that you're talking about are the same things that's actually going on today. And we still have those same rules. What go on in the house, stay in the house. Or kids that are trying to navigate through, understanding if there's something wrong, especially if it's uncle such and such, you know, or even now in these days, aunt such and such, cousin such and such. So okay, so your childhood, so you didn't have it, or you felt like you didn't have a child. You had to grow up pretty fast. Pretty much. So how did that affect your teenage years? Did you become numb to people, or your situations that you had gone through from your? Because you say you didn't realize you didn't have one until you was in your 20s. So, and I'm pretty sure I want to know, and the people want to know, like, how did that affect you? Because for me, it seems like you thought it was normal behavior, it wasn't nothing wrong. So how did, when you got into your teenage years, how did it affect you mentally and even your relationships with people?
I had a very cold heart at some point. And by cold, I'll say this, I wasn't cold to where I would have any intentions to cause harm to other people. But there was a brick wall that you can experience me on the surface, but my mindset as a survivor was always like Denzel said in Training Day. You want to go home or you want to go to jail. I knew at the end of the day I was going to the crib. I knew that no matter what, because I also had to become a fighter in some capacity. I had to learn early on, walking into a room, if something go down in this room, and by something I mean anything that you can think of, what are my exits? Because I got to get up out of here. So for me, being numb, being cold to a certain extent, and being that survivor is what it turned me into. It never turned me into a malicious person. I thank God for that, because even with who I was back then, you know, I still never had the intent to, like, you know, hurt people. But it did affect me in a way to where I don't even know if I could put it into words. It was just one of them things to where it's like, I gotta make it home at the end of the night by any means necessary. It got to a point to where I gotta eat today. by any means necessary.
Wow.
I need school clothes by any means necessary. So it put me in a position to where mentally I was like in a warpath.
Survival, yeah.
Physically, my body had became like my greatest asset and tool because I had already been put or forced in positions to use my body to even get by for food or for school clothes. So by the time I'm in my teenage years, I'm now starting to deal with the mental and emotional aspect of me having to use my body to survive.
Right.
So it messed me up a great deal.
For sure.
It messed me up a great deal mentally. I think I always had school. My grandma was always a school teacher, so she didn't play. Summer school, you had a packet. Winter break, you had a packet.
You going to school.
Saturdays, handwriting, cursive. And you using those 3 lines, and that F better touch all 3 lines.
Yeah.
So I was always an A student. Graduated in 3 years, valedictorian, top of my class. Always had like the books to like go into. So that gave me an escape and, you know, in some capacity to like lean into. That was an area that I knew without a doubt I'm great in.
Yeah.
And I'm not using any parts of me, you know, that sabotages me in any way. So it turned me into something different. The thing about it is people at school, you know, because you got to think back, these things were happening in middle school, all through high school. When I went to school, you would never know. You would have never known.
Listening to you, for me, that was a safe space. That was a confident space of you. But that was like, all of this is happening in the outside world. But here I am here. Nobody knows what's happening on the outside. So let me ask you this. Going through that, we talked about earlier that your mom was gone all the time and she was doing different things. Did you ever get to a moment to where you place blame on anybody for your early years and being introduced to things that you, when you got into your 20s, realized that you didn't have the childhood? Did you ever go through the blame game of blaming?
I'll say probably early 20s, because at this point I'm living a fast life. I'm dancing early. I started dancing probably at 17. I would be getting out of school on a Friday, going to dance out of town somewhere, coming back Monday morning in my school uniform, back at it, like nothing happened. You know, I was introduced to drugs early. I was put in like different rooms or environments where men knew this is a broken young girl. However, I get to take advantage of this. So there was a time, I would say probably about, I don't even want to put a cap on years, but there was a great deal of time where I had to realize that, one, this is affecting me the way that it was. Because when you get into a fast life, when you find yourself like going through these things, when you get into drugs, when you find yourself just being affected by all of these things mentally and emotionally, at some point you stop and wonder, how the hell did I get here? How did I get here? How, like, it could be you coming down from a high. It could be you just, you know, finish, you know, a tricking situation and you laying there like, how did I get here? And
but
what am I doing
You
here?
gotta survive though.
You gotta survive. It could be in between suicidal attempts because it didn't work. It's like, how did I get here? I was just in school doing this. And mind you, by this time I've gone to the military, I've gone to college. It's still a matter of, now what? Now what? You know, now when I do have some say-so in my life, I'm a full adult, I'm in control of my decisions. How did I get here? Because now I gotta unpack.
All of those things.
All of these
years.
things. Years. So I definitely blamed. I blamed both of my parents because they were both fighting their own battles with, you know, unresolved trauma. My dad at the time was fighting like drug addiction, like alcohol, you know. My mom was fighting whatever her unresolved like demons and traumas are. So for me, I knew that I wasn't responsible for how it started, how it continued, and the fact that no person, not one person reached out physically or just, you know, figuratively and said, let me like grab this child. Let me save this child.
Did they know any of the things that was going on at the time, and they were just having their own battles and their own things that they were going through? And the reason why I ask is because you always, or you want to have that one person that you can go to, like you saying to yourself, like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
But you don't have anybody to like pull you up and be like, let's go through. Yeah. How did you get here? Or let me take responsibility. Yeah. For how you got there. Let's talk this through and let me pull you up out of what it. So did you ever get the answer to that question?
I think it was a combination of people fighting their own battles. 2, it being easier to look away than to look, at what was right in front of you. 3, nobody wants to be the one responsible. Yeah. If you take your eyes off of this camera right now and you look and it drops. Yeah. You don't want to be the one that said, well, it was only 3 seconds.
Right. It wasn't my fault.
It was, in their mind, I only was gone for 1 day.
Wow.
I only packed a bag for 1 day. Yeah. And sometimes people don't want to be the one to have to hold themselves accountable and say, what I thought was just this small window, so much happened in this time. And that's why I tell people, so much happens in a day. Yeah. So much can happen. I think in addition to that, if somebody would have taken accountability, it would have been a ripple effect of so many other things. It got to the point to where I understood that the people that I thought were supposed to protect me wasn't running from protecting me. They were running from the person that it would require them to be in order to protect me.
Now that's good.
And I feel like they would have had to deal with their own shit. Yeah. In order to like acknowledge mine. Yeah. Because then it becomes, well, where were you? Right. Well, what was you doing over there? Right. And why did it take 3 days? And then it, even beyond the parents, it becomes, well, what you did when you found out about it. Yeah. So then it became a matter of, well, now you know, and then you didn't do anything about it either. So it got to a point where I stopped looking for people to protect me or to save me or make me feel safe in any kind of capacity. That's when I kind of got cold. Because for me, it did become a me against like me against the world type of thing, Sure. And I'll say, well, I always knew God. Don't get me wrong, my grandma had me as a praise dancer, usher. I was in the choir. I was singing leads. I was on
the welcome committee.
Listen, we lived right across the street.
Oh yeah. You saw him marching in with the choir.
We had no excuse.
Even if you're late, you at the end of the line.
My grandma didn't play that, but my grandma also had no idea what was going on inside of our household. Yeah. We knew if she called that phone, we better come up with a good excuse. Wow. Like why my mama not there, why she didn't answer.
So y'all were programmed at that time.
We were programmed at the time. Wow. But we knew on Sundays,
whatever was going on, you better show up.
You better get dressed and be ready to cross that street. And my grandma was coming in doing a clean test. Y'all didn't clean up Saturday.
That's
because
how
we grew up Saturday morning.
You better clean up.
You better clean up.
Right, because Sunday you got to be ready.
So Sundays, I knew that whatever happened Monday through Saturday on Sunday did not exist, at least for the hours that I was expected to be at church.
That's good. Yeah. And so it's this is the life that people are living in. These young girls now these days. So let me ask you this. So you didn't have anybody that you could go to and you can share. Did it ever come a time where you actually sat down and shared some of the things that you had gone through?
Oh yeah.
You did? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I am my ancestors' wildest dream. Yeah. I am. And I do wholeheartedly believe that they sent me to disrupt this dysfunction in my family.
You take ownership of that.
Dude, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You in the back. And another thing, remember I was 9? Yeah. Come on to the front.
Let me check you, girl.
Let me tell you something. Right. But it took for me to lose my mind, literally. Yeah. It took for me to be lost in my own body. It took for me to have that one experience with drugs to where it was like, who God? Yeah. if you bring me up out of this,
wow,
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never try nothing other than cannabis again. Like,
how old were you at that time?
Maybe 21 ish, somewhere up in there. At this point, I had seen so much. So much. But I'd almost lost my mind. And, you know, I'll be mindful of how I speak about this, but I had experienced something, you know, in a spiritual realm to where it was like I had no control over what was happening to me. I had been involved with a guy for a long time. Come to find out, he was still married. And he had been cheated on me with multiple women that I learned after some point. And one of the women that he had been involved with, she was heavily involved in, you know, spiritual works. Not necessarily the good aspect of it.
Right. Take a sip.
Not the good aspect of it. Listen, for real. Not the good side of it. And she made me her target. And at this time, I grew up from the South. All my family from the South, deeply rooted in Louisiana area. Seen it, done it, heard it, could touch the tip of my nose, but I don't indulge. If you can read between the lines, read between the lines, please. But this man had caused so much havoc in women's lives to where he had messed with the wrong one. It happens. Now what? Listen. He had messed with the wrong one. She had made it very clear to him she was going to break him.
Wow.
She did it at my expense. Never met the woman, couldn't tell you what she looked like, couldn't tell you to this day her name. At that time, I was pregnant and I ended up losing the child. And whatever spiritual work she had did on me was to paralyze me from the waist down. I couldn't walk for a good while.
Wow.
My legs were like the size of two, like one leg was the size of two, fluid, backed up. My heart started to like not function properly and started to fail. I was in 3 wrecks in 3 months, 3 different cars. Mind you, one of the times I'm parked. Another time I'm driving through a grocery store, shopping center. A car is in front of me going forward. Out of nowhere, the car starts reversing onto my car. The other one, I'm on the way to work. Someone runs through the light. 6 in the morning, on the way to work. T-boned me. As they T-boned me, the car could have flipped, but there was another car on my side that saved it from flipping. This woman would call my grandmother's house phone. She would call my cell phone, but she would call from like one of those block things that disguise your voice tone. She would be able to tell me what I'm wearing. She would be able to tell me things where it's like,
now wait a minute, y'all. Now this is the first time I'm hearing how in depth this is. She got me over here wanting to go to a whole prayer session.
Listen, it was real. I was asleep one night in the middle of the night. She called my grandmother's house phone. Back then, all we really had was house phones.
House phones, yeah.
If you had a cell phone,
you could only do star 67 if you didn't want them back.
She called my grandmother's house phone. I'm so protective of my grandparents, even my late grandfather. You did not have my grandma's house phone.
Yeah.
I didn't play that.
Yeah.
You don't
Especially, she don't need to know nothing about your life at the time. And if so, it's going to be some problem.
But she called my grandmother's house in the middle of the night and said that I had been shot in the head.
Oh my goodness.
I'm at home asleep.
So Granny calling. Blowing you up.
Said that I had gotten into an accident and the person that hit me shot me in the head, left me for dead. I'm at home asleep. But that was her next intention because at this point I'd already been in 2 accidents.
Right.
The third one was supposed to be the one. And it got to a point to where I had to go see the lady. Yeah. Wink. Had to go see the lady. Yeah. And figure out what was going on. This lady had done roots. She had put roots on me. Wow. I lost my mind. I went to several psych wards after that. my body took years to recover because I would go to the doctors and be completely healthy on paper.
Yeah.
Completely healthy. Whole time I'm having blood clots all throughout my legs. Some days I can't walk. I'm blacking out. I'm passing out. Completely healthy.
Yeah.
Completely.
They're trying to figure out what is going on.
They sending me to every specialist that you could think of. I'm taking 13, 14 prescription pills a day.
Yeah.
They're literally just keeping me in a zombie state because they don't know what this is.
Yeah.
They know it's something, but they don't know what it is. They know what the tests say, but they know what my body says too.
All because of a relationship? Now, were you the only target? Was the other people getting targeted as well? He must have really loved you.
We lived together.
Oh, there it is.
We were supposed to get married. We were supposed to get married.
Marriage wasn't happening.
No, because I found out he was still married.
Oh,
Jesus. But not to her.
I forgot. Oh, and continue.
See why we
so many questions.
Right.
So many questions.
So it got to a point to where I was having a real out-of-body experience. I was not in control of my own soul.
Somebody else's spirit
had taken over me.
For sure.
100%. My grandmother told me one day, she said, you got them horns on top of your head. And if you're a spiritual person, do your research, do your homework. I won't go too far into that. But she said, you got them horns on top of your head. She didn't recognize me. I didn't recognize me.
Yeah.
While this is going on, I have attempted suicide maybe 5 times in every way you could think. One prescription pill they gave me was supposed to be a dosage high enough for 3 people.
Wow.
And that wasn't the only one that they was giving me. I had 12 other.
Yeah.
I would take that and then try to go drive because I'm not supposed to be able to even be woke after taking it.
Wow.
I was angry with God because how the hell do you let me make it back home? I parked. Parking was spectacular.
In the line.
Even on both sides.
Oh my gosh.
How do you let the gun jam again?
How many times did you attempt to commit suicide?
Just in my life?
No, just during that time. Because we gonna get to the life. We gonna get to the other parts.
I don't even know.
Wow.
And for me, my mindset was the easiest way would be by overdose, because they had me on so much medication.
So you're in a psych ward at this time?
No.
Okay.
This is how it would get, because every time I went, it was not by choice except one time.
Okay.
So when they would force me to go, I, would get that call, hey, you either gonna come down here, be here on this day by this time, or we got to come get you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the club Friday, so y'all
have to come get you.
Do your job and come find me.
You got money. You got some money that you gotta make.
Listen, but I'm like, all right, Saturday by 2. So I knew what kind of deadlines I would be on. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm going through all this, not even understanding the magnitude of all these things.
Yeah.
So I would get there and know how to get myself out of there by Sunday. No, I did not break out. Let's make that very clear.
Put that disclaimer out there.
But I would go in there and get my mind in the right place.
Yeah,
where it's like,
they'll release you.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
But there was this one time where it was like, no, you're going to sit here. You're going to sit here. And the one time that I did voluntarily go was when I knew that I was tired of going through this cycle.
Yeah.
And the one time that I was tempted to attempt, I didn't actually want to claim my life at that time. So I was like, I need to go.
Ooh, child. We just on the first.
You want to talk?
Ooh, Lord, now see, y'all listen. I thought I knew her. However, there are some unpeeled layers that I'm getting able to witness today as well. Oh my goodness. And so how did it end with this relationship with this gentleman? Like you of course you were spiritually taken to a whole nother place that was affecting your mental, your body. How did the relationship with the man who caused all of this? What happened?
So a few things happened. One, my family forced me to go to the lady. I had to drive up 10, go see the lady, get a greater understanding of what was happening.
Right.
She was able to tell me everything about the baby that I had lost. Like, I was due to find out, like, the sex. She was able to tell me. She also was able to tell me, you know, this woman's intentions were that you'll never be able to have kids. So that was something that stayed with me, you know, for years, even till this day, with the struggles that I've had. She told me what I needed to do spiritually. I ain't gonna go into those details.
Yeah, that's too
that's too deep.
That's too deep. They be trying to take your and do it.
No, do not try this.
No, exactly.
So I did do that, and then he ended up going to jail.
Okay.
For some other things he was involved in. So that was one of my like outs.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I love his mom. We're still cordial to this day. Like, that woman loved me down.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't even blame him in the capacity of like what she did. However, he has the things he has to pay for. Yeah. He's still in jail to this day.
Wow.
So there's some things that he's gonna have to deal with on his own.
That she probably put some.
Possibly.
This is a lifetime story.
Right.
When you come out.
Possibly.
We need to talk to you.
Yes, possibly. But I did what the lady advised me to do, and I had to literally do the work. I had to do the work. Every day was a new day.
Yeah.
In trying to undo what this lady had been doing to me for so many years. The first thing that the lady warned me of, the lady that I went to see, was, do not try and go find this woman. Because I was a hothead.
Oh, listen. Listen. Anybody who had just a little temper.
Listen.
That many things.
Because she was on me bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Especially if you knew where it was coming from.
I still didn't know. I still don't know.
Right. No, I'm saying you knew that it was coming, you know, from her. And so, okay, I'm sorry. The instruction was to don't go find her.
She made it very clear. I know you. Do not go looking for this woman. She did give me a slight description of the woman, but she said, do not, I beg of you. She said, if you go find this woman, she will finish you.
Lord, today.
She will finish you. And that's when the whole concept of vengeance is the Lord was like real for me, because excuse me, it was a battle of knowing that this wasn't my battle. Like, in those moments where you really got to ask yourself, which version of me is about to respond?
Which shoulder's talking?
Which one of me is going to react? And in the flesh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wanted her head.
You and your whole squad.
Wasn't no squad, because I'm still in survival mode.
Oh, gotcha.
It's me and my man.
Gotcha.
Against the world.
Gotcha.
I wanted her.
Did you tell him?
Yeah. After. I couldn't tell him until I got him off of me and her off of me.
What was his response?
Sometimes these things are easily accessible by way of sex. She was able to get to me through intercourse that I was having with him. That's why I said be mindful of who you share your body with, because sometimes that's how the energy and the spirits are shared, through sex. There's another version of sexually transmitted diseases, and we're not talking about we're not talking about diagnosis. We're talking about these sexually transmitted spiritual diseases that we encounter and we have no idea. If you're sleeping with one person, you have no idea what they are attached to and associated to.
For sure.
But I had to get him off of me and get her off of me, and then go back and get me.
So, as you can see, there's so much more to unpack. Lord, it's about 2 or 3 suitcases I ain't even opened yet. However, we are going to end this segment.
To be continued.